The vast expanses of geologic history can be divided into a number of eons, into eras, into periods, and the Cenozoic era, the last 65 million years, can also be divided into a number of epochs. The more recent times, which have affected humans, can be divided into ice ages, interglacials between them, and the Pleistocene, which lasted from 2.6 million years ago to 12,000 years ago, and the Holocene, which is the time period in the last 12,000 years. Up until recently, all of these geologic periods were named based on fossil strata, sediments, and the events which ended one period and began another were thought to be things such as continents colliding, mass extinctions, meteorites falling from space, etc. But recently, it is thought that human impact on the planet is so great that a new time period should be named in the history of Earth, named the Anthropocene, named for the humans which are having such a profound impact on the planet. Humans certainly have changed the surface of the planet. Areas which were once forests are now cities and roads. Areas which were once prairie are now cropland. The practice of keeping cattle has certainly changed the surface of the land as more and more land is converted to pasture, and even the composition of the atmosphere as methane released from cattle contribute to global warming. Humans have found ways to mine carbon sources and minerals buried deep under the earth, and our use of fossil fuels for energy is changing the concentration of the heat-absorbing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, affecting global climate. The growing human population uses so much habitat as deforestation and the conversion of areas to agricultural lands removes habitat from countless species, that it is thought that we are currently living in what is tied for the second worst mass extinction in the history of life on Earth. While there is interest in naming a geologic time period for the effects that humans have had, the Anthropocene, the question which is debated is which human activities should mark the start of the Anthropocene? When would this time period begin? Should it begin 45,000 years ago when humans began to affect tropical ecosystems? Should it occur between 14 and 10,000 years ago when climate change and human overhunting was causing the extinction of so many large mammals? Should the Anthropocene replace the name Holocene, and so thus should it occur 11,700 years ago and the term Holocene no longer be used? Should it begin between 11,000 years ago and 8,000 years ago because of the rise and spread of agriculture? Or shortly after that because of the spread of cattle? Should it begin 2,000 years ago when one can actually identify soils which are showing human impact and thus use this as the metric for the beginning of the period? Should one use the spread of cattle throughout Asia, which had such a profound effect? The European colonization of the Americas, which spread plants and animals throughout the globe and changed the way that the Native American populations were impacting the natural environments? Should it begin 300 years ago with the Industrial Revolution? Should it be considered to begin after World War II, or should that be referred to as the great acceleration of the Anthropocene, just an intensification of its effects? While there is debate on what should be recognized as the beginning of the Anthropocene, it is not debated that human impact on the planet is so significant that it should be recognized in the naming of geologic time periods.